Hello everyone, and welcome to Storytelling Through Podcasts. My name is SJ. I have been working with Waterlution for almost a year now and graduated with a journalism degree from Carleton University just last year. With Waterlution, I produce podcasts, write blogs, and do profiles on innovators creating cutting-edge research in the field of water sustainability. Today, we're going to talk about the art of storytelling, interviewing, and touch on technical skills, all in the realm of auditory news. So, among the many mediums of reporting, why podcasting? And why has podcasting gained so much popularity in the past year? Edison Media Research, an organization dedicated to marking trends in the world of journalism, claims Canada has some of the highest percentage of monthly podcast listeners compared to other large countries, and we can attribute the consistent reach of online audio in the last year or so to the pandemic, which has disrupted people's lives in significant ways. So, clearly in recent years, people in this country specifically have taken to podcasting. So what are the benefits to this form of media? What immediately comes to mind is convenience. Since it's an auditory form of storytelling, you can multitask with things like cooking, cleaning, etc., and it's portable. You can listen to them on the go. Lastly, some studies have even proven that getting your news through podcasting can stimulate mental imagery more intensely than through other media alternatives, such as reading and television. Now that you have an idea of the benefits of podcasting, how do you create a story? There are a few things you need to figure out before diving in. 1. An issue, new innovation, or unique aspect of the natural space you are covering. So that's just basically your angle or your hook. You need to address an issue, an innovation, or unique aspect of your subject. Something that will hook your listeners in and get them interested in what makes your story special. It can be a unique angle on an age-old issue too. For example, we all know that plastic pollution is a huge issue affecting our oceans. But what about a story on the surprising effects of plastic pollution on, for example, salmon migration habits? Research is a key component of developing your angle. You can cite certain studies in your podcast to attribute to what you're talking about to statistics, kind of like how I did earlier with the benefits of podcasting, or to learn the ins and outs yourself of who your story will affect. Researching is a skill very interwoven within the profession of journalism and really can enrich your storytelling experience. Lastly, and arguably the most important component, people. You'll want to find the right voices for your story, people with lived experience who can provide unique opinions and perspectives that no amount of research can recreate. Now, how to find these voices? There are many ways. You can contact local nonprofit organizations who are aligned with your subject, the authors of the research you are citing, and locals you know who can speak to the topic. Now, all of these examples I provided are from very different fields. We have philanthropists, academics, and community members. So we're going to want to format each of these interviews to those categories. Meaning, the question that you would ask a PhD student is not the question that you would ask your neighbor. Overall, with interviewing for podcasts, description is key. If you are able to get your interviewee to use a lot of visual descriptors and comparisons for whatever they are describing, the better. More visual units of measurement are great tools. For example, using football fields, school buses, or pens, just well-known things like this. Now in the age of COVID, virtual interviewing sites will be your friend. There are many free ones online. I'll also mention some golden rules of interviewing I've collected over my 5 years now of practicing journalism, and I hope they help you. So 1, know your subject. 2, use a recording device so you can listen attentively. 3, have prepared questions but be flexible. 4, ask open-ended questions. And 5, actively listen. So, you've finished your interviews, now what? At the end of this last step, you'll want to have 3 kinds of audio: interviews, sound effects, which are basically any sounds or ambient noise which would transport the listener to the location you are covering, For example, if you're doing a story on saltwater or the ocean, seagulls or foghorns come to mind, and I'm sure you can think of many other sounds. And lastly, narration. Narration is your own voice. You will guide the flow of the story with interludes of voiceover. This is where you'll utilize the research you've done and things you've learned. After gathering the interviews and sound effects, you'll do this by creating a script. Generally, good narration allows your subjects to tell the story, while you provide the context behind what they are saying. Sound effects are interwoven throughout the story to enhance what is being said, but not overpower it. Now, people all have their favorites of what they like doing: interviewing, research, editing, the latter being the most difficult for many. But I'll try to make this as painless as possible. Now, this is not an ad, but Audacity is typically the way to go for free audio editing softwares. The main thing you'll need to know is how to import, cut, and layer your audio. It's a very intuitive site. Once you've mastered these 3 tools, you'll be able to make a nice structure for your story. For the cutting tool, say for instance if someone says any ums or ahs, or if there's an irrelevant part of the interview, then you can cut that using that tool. Although as a principle, just make sure you're never changing the message the person is sharing. For sites like Audacity and other editing softwares, there is usually a recording feature which you can use for your narration. If you have headphones with a mic, I really recommend using those as well. Now to summarize. So initially, you're going to want to find an issue, research, interview, do narration, and then edit. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found this helpful and you go out to create amazing podcasts.